On January 11, 2013, a shocking discovery inside a high school gym in Georgia would spark one of the most controversial death investigations in America. 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson was found dead at his school, rolled upside down inside a large wrestling mat at a gymnasium in Lowndes High School. The scene immediately raised questions. How could a teenager end up trapped inside a mat and die unnoticed? According to investigators, Kendrick had reportedly gone into the gym to retrieve a shoe he had placed inside the rolled mat. Students often stored shoes there to avoid carrying them around. Authorities said Kendrick likely climbed in head first, became stuck, and was unable to free himself. The official ruling: accidental death caused by positional asphyxia, meaning he could no longer breathe after becoming trapped. But not everyone believed that explanation. Kendrick's family strongly rejected the ruling. They believed there were too many unanswered questions. Surveillance footage from the school appeared incomplete in some areas, rumors spread across social media, and speculation began to grow. Some believed Kendrick may have been involved in an altercation before his death. Then came another disturbing twist. During a later independent autopsy requested by the family, it was discovered that some of Kendrick's internal organs had been replaced with newspaper after his body was prepared by a funeral home. A standard preservation process in some cases, but one that fueled even more outrage and suspicion online. Over the years, investigations were reopened and reviewed multiple times. Federal authorities examined the case, but ultimately stated there was insufficient evidence to prove foul play. Officials maintained that Kendrick's death was a tragic accident. Yet, for many people, the questions never fully disappeared. More than a decade later, the death of Kendrick Johnson remains one of the internet's most debated mysteries, a case caught between official conclusions and public doubt. In January 2013, 21-year-old Canadian student Alyssa Lamb arrived in Los Angeles during a solo trip across the West Coast. She checked into the infamous Sust Hotel, a place already surrounded by dark stories and unsettling history. At first, everything seemed normal. Alyssa called home daily, keeping in touch with her family. But suddenly, the calls stopped. Her parents grew worried. Days passed with no sign of her, and police launched a search. Then, investigators released something that would turn the case into one of the internet's biggest mysteries: eerie elevator footage. In the video, Alyssa appears frightened or confused. She presses multiple buttons, peeks nervously into the hallway, steps in and out of the elevator, and makes strange hand gestures as if speaking to someone no one can see. The footage spread everywhere. People began asking terrifying questions. Was she hiding from someone? Was someone following her? Or was something darker happening inside the hotel? Then came the shocking discovery. Weeks after Alyssa vanished, hotel guests began complaining about low water pressure and a strange taste coming from the taps. When maintenance workers checked the rooftop water tanks, they found Alyssa Lamb's body inside. The mystery only deepened. How did she get to the roof, an area reportedly locked and alarmed? Why was there no clear evidence of foul play? In the end, officials ruled her death an accidental drowning, linked to a bipolar disorder episode. But many people still aren't convinced. To this day, the Alyssa Lamb case remains one of the internet's most chilling unsolved mysteries. Because sometimes, the scariest questions are the ones that never get answers. In the early hours of April 18, 2016, a small church in Texas became the scene of one of America's most chilling unsolved mysteries. 45-year-old fitness instructor Missy Bevers was preparing to teach an early morning boot camp at a church in Midlothian, Texas. Known for her energy and kindness, Missy arrived before dawn to set up for her class. But someone else was already inside. Security cameras captured a strange figure wandering the halls of the church before Missy arrived. The person was dressed in what looked like police tactical gear, helmet, gloves, boots, even carrying tools. But something felt off. The figure moved slowly, casually opening doors and roaming the building, almost as if they were waiting. At around 5 a.m., Missy entered the church. Less than an hour later, members arriving for boot camp made a horrifying discovery. Missy Bevers had been murdered. Authorities never publicly revealed exactly what weapon was used, but investigators quickly focused on the mysterious person seen on surveillance footage. Was it someone impersonating law enforcement? Someone who knew Missy's schedule? Or was the strange walk of the suspect hiding a major clue? Online investigators became obsessed with the footage. Some believed the person walked with an injury. Others thought the gait looked oddly familiar, possibly even disguised. Police investigated countless leads, including personal relationships, but no arrest has ever been made. Years later, the surveillance video still haunts true crime communities. Because somewhere in that footage may be the identity of Missy Bevers' killer. And until someone comes forward, the mystery remains unsolved. On November 4th, 2018, 40-year-old mother of 5, Tamla Horsford, attended an adult slumber party in a quiet neighborhood in Forsyth County, Georgia. It was supposed to be a fun night, games, food, drinks, and laughter among friends. Tamla was the only black woman at the gathering. As the night went on, guests say people drank heavily. Some went to bed, others stayed awake. At one point, Tamla was reportedly seen outside smoking on the back deck. But by the next morning, everything changed. Around 8:30 a.m., Tamla's body was found in the backyard. She had fallen from the home's elevated balcony. Authorities quickly ruled her death an accident, saying she likely fell from the deck while intoxicated. An autopsy noted multiple injuries consistent with a fall, and her blood alcohol level was reportedly high. But for many people, the explanation didn't sit right. Online investigators and Tamla's supporters began asking difficult questions. Why were there inconsistencies in witness statements? Why did some details seem to change? And why did it feel like the investigation moved so quickly? Rumors spread online, with some believing there was more to the story than authorities admitted. The case sparked nationwide attention, petitions demanding answers, and accusations of bias in the investigation. Eventually, after public pressure, officials reopened the case for review. But in 2021, investigators once again concluded there was no evidence of foul play and reaffirmed the original ruling: accidental death. Still, for many, questions remain unanswered. Was it truly a tragic accident? Or is there something about that night we still don't know? The death of Tamla Horsford remains one of those cases that continues to divide opinion between official conclusions and public suspicion.